Hello guys and welcome to iGame613. Now today I want to talk to you about something pretty awesome. I think this is pretty cool and something that no one's really talked about too much, but something that I found that's a pretty cool link into real world versus GTA world, and it's about a couple of mountains in the game. Now first off I want to talk about Mount Josiah. Now this is one of the mountains that you will find if you go into GTA 5, and this is the one based by the military base. You can actually find it just by Fort Sancuda, that says so here, and it is located just to the west of Alamo Sea, and it's got some obvious collapsing if you approach it from the east. Now, I've been reading about this mountain, there's got to be something about it, I was thinking, and most of the things you can only find about it is that if you stand on top of it and use your super zoom sniper, then you can actually see the UFO that's above the military base. So that's kind of cool, I thought, and I've actually tested it myself and it does actually work. And there's a couple of people who also rumour that you can do it with the one over by the alien camp as well, but I've not actually managed to do it myself. However, there is videos out there of people actually doing it, so that's probably possible too. However, I found something that I find pretty interesting. Now this is the actual mountain here in the picture. It's the one that I've seen from Tongva Hills, and that's a total different story on its own, so I'll be going into that on another video. But if you actually look into the actual trivia, Mount Josiah is named after Josiah Whitney, an American geologist. Mount Whitney, the tallest mountain in California, is also named after him. Okay, so what that basically says is Mount Josiah is named after Josiah Whitney. So Josiah Whitney is an American geologist, and Mount Whitney is the tallest mountain in California, named after him. So what does that mean? That means that basically the actual mountain in GTA 5 is named after him. The mountain in real life is named after him. And by no means whatsoever is Mount Josiah the tallest mountain in the game, or in California, or anything like that, because that is obviously Mount Chiliad. However, these mountains aren't going to be one for one. These mountains aren't even as tall as the real versions, so the actual real versions I'd say are about an extra, at least 2 or 3 times bigger. Probably more, to be honest, but I don't really know too much about the actual scales. However, I know that they are a lot taller in actual real life than they are in the game. But it's pretty cool that they're named this one after him and that one after him. So we have a look at Mount Whitney, and we will see some information. It's the highest summit in the United States and Sierra Nevada, sorry. And it's got some pretty cool stuff. It's got all this kind of cool gear, exploration history and stuff like that about the actual guy Josiah Whitney, which you can see in a separate page, which is here. That's the actual guy himself, as you can see in a little picture by the side there, over here. And it's got some pretty cool information about him. It says that he's a bit of a noob, and he's a bit of a show-offy jerk. He even got people of his own climbing team that were like surveying the area to actually name the mountain after him. So he told them to name Mount Whitney after him. And something else that he actually did discover was the the Whitney Glacier. Now where's the Whitney Glacier based? Let's have a look up here. So confirmed Whitney Glacier on Mount Shasta. Now a lot of people have actually heard about Mount Shasta before, and that's because it's here. Now let's have a look about Mount Shasta. What's that got to do with anything? So this is like the actual mountain that that Mount Chiliad is based off. So we'll have a look inside in a moment. And it's the second highest peak in the Cascades and the fifth highest in California. So by no means is this one actually that tall, really. I believe Mount Chiliad is 3,000 feet high, when this one is actually 14,000 feet high, and that's quite a lot of a difference. So there's a huge difference there. It's at least 5 times taller than Mount Chiliad. However, they're not obviously based one for one, like I said earlier. As you can see, also this one is snow capped. That is because it's so tall. And to be honest, if you actually turn the snow on the mods on PC, and you have like snow all over the ground, it does look pretty similar to that when you actually do that. Now, some pretty cool information here that this actual mountain obviously has glaciers. That's where the Whitney Glacier comes from. It's also a active volcano, so there is actually volcanic cones and stuff, and it could actually erupt whenever it wants to. But the last eruption here, as you can see, is 1786, and it's pretty awesome. So like I said, that one is actually part of the real life version of Mount Chiliad, and that's awesome in its own way because it's got all these cool stuff. This is where our main focus is for the Chiliad mystery. Unfortunately, the GTA wiki page only has that little tiny bit of text. There's actually nothing all the way down here, and I thought some troll deleted it all and someone's going to repost it, but nope, it never came back. It never actually appeared. So we found it pretty interesting. However, it's here. Mount Chiliad in 3D universe, that's the one that you actually find in GTA San Andreas. And Mount Chiliad in HD universe, this is this one, and that is the one obviously based on Mount Shasta. Just to let you know as well, the one in the 3D universe was actually based on Mount Diablo. So think of that what you will. Like I say, it's just under 30,000 feet high, which makes the actual real version 5 times bigger at least, probably more now, because it's slightly smaller than 3,000 feet. And this is literally where all the mysteries revolve around. Now, what makes it even more of a cool thing that is actually linked to Mount Shasta is if we look at Mount Shasta, there's tons and tons of bloody legends about this place. Now, there's like myths and legends, it says here, American Indian legends, which go into stuff such as aliens and linked up to other mountains and stuff like that. There's all this other cool stuff here, and there's actually full-on pages about this stuff. And if you literally just click on one of these things, like here, like you got myths, this is actually nothing to do with the actual mountain. This is just telling you what a myth is. I don't see why that does that. Whatever. But there's apparently some people believe there's actually aliens living in the mountain. People say they've seen UFOs descending into the mountain, which I'll be honest, that sounds a bit crazy considering it's full of volcanic lava, but I don't know, maybe these aliens can actually live in that type of surroundings. But other than that, I find it pretty cool that Mount Chiliad and Mount Josiah actually have a link, and I didn't really expect it to have any links really, because it's just like 2 separate mountains. Before the game was actually launched, Rockstar kept going on and on and on about Mount Josiah to CVG, which was Computer and Video Games magazine, and they used to be an online company that are now called Games Radar, I believe, or Games Radar Plus or something like that. And when the actual game came out, there was really nothing to do at Mount Josiah, and nobody really got why they were going on about it so much. The only thing people found out was that you can use it to jump into the actual military base, but you only need to go about halfway up to do that anyway. And every time you go to right to the top, some mountain lion spawns and just eats your face off. So it's pretty cool that there is actually something you can learn about this place, and it's kind of cool that there is links between them all. The next thing I suggest is that we're all going to need to start to look into actual real life mysteries and stuff about these places. A quick Google, I couldn't actually find any mysteries about Mount Whitney, which is the real life Josiah, like I just said. And there's, like I say, there's tons of them from Mount Shasta, so it's going to be a huge job for us all to look into this type of stuff. I know for a fact Music Video, one of the big people well known in the actual mystery community, he has done quite a bit of research on Mount Shasta. He's one of the first people to actually bring Mount Shasta out as a probable location for real life Chiliad. And yeah, we've not really done much with that information so far. So that is something I'm urging the community to look into a bit more. Also the fact that Josiah Whitney, his name is half in the game, half not in the game. So the Josiah half is, but the Whitney half is in real world, on separate, in the same context as Josiah is in the game. So we've got to start looking into that type of stuff. So say Isaac Newton, say there was a Newton Mount Newton or something in the game. If there was a Mount Isaac, then we've got to look into that kind of stuff. So that is pretty cool, and something we definitely need to research a bit more. Other than that, there's not really much else I can talk about on this. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. I will be doing some more of these type of videos if you do actually seem to like these ones. There's the other mountains I need to talk about. There's certain areas and like rivers and stuff in the game that I found some pretty cool information on. And if you enjoy this video, then I will happily do them videos for you. They do take quite a bit of research to actually piece bits together and know which parts to put together and stuff. But pretty much it's something, if you want it, then I'll do it. But if you don't, then I won't. I'll just stick to the normal mystery videos in GTA, just looking for stuff on the actual ground. So other than that, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.